All right, 6 o'clock, and it's a Tuesday. So we're going to prep some Dungeons and Dragons for Gothic Horror Homebrew campaign. For now, we're working on making it 5e compatible. Not necessarily like the only system that could successfully run this game. Obviously, there's going to be elements of Eldritch Horror that Call of Cthulhu might handle better. There's going to be storytelling stuff that you could just, play with Fates or World of Darkness. And of course, we're borrowing a lot of design elements from Pathfinder 2, which kind of is creating that temptation to check out Pathfinder 2 and maybe try to run a mini series in this setting when it's finished with Pathfinder 2 and see how that goes. But at the end of the day, 5e is the system that I understand the most. It's the one I've been using almost exclusively for the past 3 or 4 years. And I know the rules pretty well at this point, and I have a pretty good understanding of the design and what works and what doesn't work. So it's a lot easier for me to just express my ideas, I think, mechanically in 5e, and then sort of work from that base. So on that note, last week we were doing custom subclasses that would be a cool enhancement to the setting that we're trying to run. So the first one that we did was the Fey-Blooded Sorcerer. Pretty darn happy with how the Fey-Blooded Sorcerer turned out. Obviously, it needs to get play tested and all that good stuff, but I'm pretty interested in it and interested in seeing how it plays. I think it'll be pretty fun. Really, stuff like them having access to Hex, that's as simple as taking a feat, Fey-Blooded feat or whatever from Tasha's, which gives you access to Hex as basically a spell that you add to your spell list, irregardless of what your core caster is. So, with the advent of the newer innate magical feats from Tasha's, stuff like that isn't really, in my opinion, that big of a deal. So I am excited to see some of this teleportation stuff going on. I'm sure this Fey Mind ability is good, could be better. And as far as the level 14 ability and the capstone ability, I mean, it's very hard to playtest those because how often do you really run higher level campaigns for a sustained amount of time? But overall, I like the flavor of it. I think it's pretty cool, and I think it adds just a little bit of flavor, especially at earlier levels, to the game. So we'll see how it goes. I don't know if a 5-foot teleport's really going to make that much of a difference. But we do allow it to go up to 10 feet at level 9, so we'll see how it goes. Fey being a major player in this campaign setting, I felt like Fey-Blooded Sorcerer was a cool thing to do. I think that the Tech Druid from Circle of Steam is going to be the hardest one to do, so I'll be honest, I'm going to save that one for last. Yeah. So exactly, it's super rare to not only to run a game to 20, but to sustain that. I've been in a couple of games that ran to 20. I ran a game that ran to 20. Once we got to 20, hey, yeah, good afternoon to you too. We all just high-fived, we cried a little bit, and then we moved on with our lives because we just didn't have it in us anymore to do any more D&D at that point. We were like people that crossed the finish line of a marathon, and we just wanted to call it a day. We even tried to revisit in the one campaign. We tried to revisit our level 20 characters and keep going. And we just like we did one or two sessions with our level 20 characters, and it was just such. Honestly, it was such a circle jerk because we were so incredibly strong that it was the highest ranking members of the Justice League. Like, who were they going to fight, right? Like Apocalypse. But how many times can they fight Apocalypse before? Or is Apocalypse? Apocalypse is X-Men. The other one that's basically Apocalypse. Anyways, yeah, planet-ending, living god stuff on the regular all the time. It does start to get a little old. But the journey itself can be enjoyable, especially dark side. Thank you. If you lean into it, and you really enjoy it, sure. But like sustainability, it really does just become a sort of comic book circle jerk. A good example is the show Supernatural. They start out as low-level characters, and every little demon and goblin is the greatest threat they've ever faced. And then by like season 47 or whatever, they're literally punching gods in the taint. Yeah, and it's just like, like what kind of stories are we telling at that point? So I don't know. Anyways, that's my stance on higher level gameplay. It's cool once in a while, but in a sustained environment, it's very, in my opinion, it's a very different kind of game. All right, I think I'm most excited about making the Belmont Fiend Hunter Ranger. So let's go ahead while we're relatively fresh and start with that. Yeah, let's get into that. So we're gonna go over to D&D Beyond. I'll zoom into D&D Beyond a little bit here, and we will go to let's see, collections. No, game rules. There we go. Classes, and we're gonna jump down to Ranger. Poor Ranger. This has been said a number of times during my prep, but in 4th edition, Rangers were ridiculously good. And in earlier editions, 2-weapon fighting was ridiculously good. 2nd edition, most especially. Rangers, signature move, dual weapon fighting, it was good. It was good times. It's very sad to me to see Ranger fall so far when they get to 5th edition. Now, I have seen good Rangers. You can have a good Ranger for sure. You just make a Rogue Scout. No, I'm just kidding. You just make a Druid who uses a bow. Okay, sorry. You just make any Wood Elf character, and then make them a Dex fighter, Battle Master. Yeah, anyways. So, but we're going to make this Ranger. We're going to make this Ranger good. That's the plan. Okay. So we get down to the Ranger, and right away... Yeah, Belmont Ranger is kind of like a bard because they're going to have them knowledge skills, you know what I'm saying? So here's the other issue with Ranger. Ranger was fueled by, let's just put it out there, he was fueled by hate, right? Favorite enemy, that's a thing, right? This is a guy that specialized in hate crimes against either other races, other humanoids, which nowadays we don't even use the term demi-human anymore, or they just hunt certain species to extinction, even though those species are good. Yeah, Arctic Stories. I think that the Belmont characters are almost always a rogue thief because item management, and just a fighter, just a battlemaster fighter. I think that, honest to God, I think that kind of sums up most video game characters, is a multi-class rogue thief, so they get access to fast hands, and then maybe they get access to cat burglar to sort of represent wall jumping and like double jumping and things like that, and they toss a bag of holding on there to hold all their shit. And then they're a fighter, and the rest of the way. That's it, you know. If they are a main video game character that also has a little spell casting, they're probably you could probably do Rogue Thief with Eldritch Knight or whatever, and then you pretty much sum up almost every video game character that you're trying to be. People sleep on Rogue Thief. But if you are trying to capture that sort of video gaminess, I think Rogue Thief really honestly delivers that. It's certainly better than the Assassin, which is terrible. It's a trap class. So, Kensai Monk. Yeah, I could see Kensai Monk for sure. There really aren't any exotic weapons in 5e is the other weird part of 5e. Like, they deliberately avoided, like, the exotic weapons of earlier editions. I know not everybody, but a lot of people house rule exotic weapons in. So that's going to be something we have to address because there is going to be that signature whip situation. So we have to decide, what are we going to do about that? So the Kensai does bring up some good points. We may want to borrow some design stuff from the Kensai as we're checking this out. The problem with designing a ranger in 5e is that they keep redoing the ranger. You know what I'm saying? Like, they keep trying to fix the ranger without actually fixing the ranger. So it's like, what ranger are we really trying to be here? What is the best ranger that we officially have? That's not homebrewed, that is not UA or outlawed UA. I'm gonna say it's probably the Gloomstalker. I think the Gloomstalker is probably the best ranger that we have. So I feel like that's probably who we want to base a lot of this off, is the Gloomstalker. So to be a ranger subclass, we need to have a 3rd level trait. We need to have a 7th level, an 11th level, and a 15th level, which is a weird flex. That's a very weird flex. So we get here and they get spells. I don't know if Belmonts really need spells per se. Yeah. So I'm not 100% sure what we're going to do about that. I'd much prefer that they were focused on weapons and using items. Do you know what I'm saying? Because, like, historically, fake history, I don't think there's a lot of Belmonts that use magic. Like, they use magic items, they have magic in them, like almost like a paladin, like smiting magic, that kind of stuff. So I'm hesitant to worry about giving them magic. If we take away their ability to use magic, we could certainly pile on a bunch of shit that they could then use instead. So that's a tough call. Let's see. Can't see anything here. Alright, let's... I guess we'll format this so that we can see what the hell's going on. We'll do... There we go. Okay. So let's see. If we drop spells, which is a huge part of the ranger, if we drop spells, we could do a lot of cool shit with them. Yeah, like, they kind of have Hexblade elements to them as well, as far as, like, being really good with a particular weapon or weapons. So, yeah. Let's go ahead and open up Kensai as well, because I think that's going to give us a little bit of insight into a weapon-focused character. Let's see. We'll go to... One could argue that instead of making these guys a ranger, we could make them a monk. And... I mean, it is technically like a religious order almost of monster hunters. So you could just make the Belmonts monks. That's a thing that we could do if it proves too hard to make a good ranger. Damn. And then we don't have to worry about the spell issue because you're a monk. And then you do escalating damage with your chosen weapons and your thrown weapons. Ooh. Is Belmont really just a monk? Holy shit. I feel like the Belmont says signature weapon. I mean, these are the core traits of a monk. Yeah, fighter. I feel like there's so many good fighters already, though. You know what I'm saying? There's already so many good fighters. Let's see. I feel like fighter really doesn't need any help. Like, there's so many good fighters already. Let's see. Key fueled attacks, implements of mercy. No, we don't want that. We want Kensai. There we go. So monks of the way of the Kensai are trained relentlessly with their weapon. They get to pick more weapons as they go. That checks out. Choose 2 weapons, 1 melee weapon and 1 ranged weapon. Each of these weapons can be a simple or martial weapon that lacks the heavy or special properties. The longbow is a valid choice. You gain proficiency in these weapons if you don't already have it. Weapons of the chosen type are monk weapons for you, but this tradition's features work only with your Kensai weapons. Agile parry if you make an unarmed strike. Kensai shot. Way of the brush. Way of the brushes. Yeah, whatever. Okay. Oh, thanks. Hello, people who are raiding. We're trying to make a Belmont-based Ranger subclass. That's what we're working on right now. Not actually playing any D&D. We're just trying to design a subclass together. All right. It looks like they really pile that shit on for the Gloomstalker. Technically, they're only supposed to get a trait at 3rd level, but they give these guys custom spells. They give them this ambush ability, and they pimp their dark vision as well, which is why we're kind of looking at Gloomstalker, because I think it's one of the better rangers. At 7, they get Iron Mind. If you honed your ability, you have honed your ability to resist mind-altering powers of your prey. You gain proficiency in Wisdom saving throws. If you already have proficiency, you can instead gain proficiency in Intelligence or Charisma saving throws. It's pretty good. 11 is Stalker's Fury. At 11th level, you learn to attack with such unexpected speed that you can turn a miss into another strike. Once on each of your turns, when you miss with a weapon attack, you can make another weapon attack as part of the same action. Also very good. And then there's Shadowy Dodge. Starting at 15th level, you could dodge in unforeseen ways. Wisp of supernatural shadows surround you. When a creature makes an attack roll against you and doesn't have advantage on the roll, you can use a reaction to impose disadvantage on it, blah, blah, blah. So again, I think... excuse me. I think that I think Gloomstalker is kind of the best that we've got. I know Swarm is good. We're also going to look at Hunter, because technically Belmont's hunt monsters, we're calling it a Fiend Hunter, tentatively. So this is a little less impressive. You just saw that the Gloomstalker got 3 different features, including custom spells. You get to pick one of these alright abilities as a Hunter. So you can add some extra damage once per turn, a D8 once per turn. It's not great. Doesn't scale well as you level up. Giant Killer, which burns your reaction. And then Horde Breaker, which is kind of cool, because it does give you 1 extra attack. So that's pretty good. But overall, I mean, wow. When you compare that to what the Gloomstalker gets, it's pretty sad. 7th level, the same deal. Those guys are getting actual proficiency in a saving throw. These guys get to pick one of these things, and one of them isn't even a full saving throw thing. It's just against being frightened. It's terrible. It's terrible. So yeah. Multi-attack defense is kind of cool. Kind of. It's a +4 AC bonus, but you don't really build a ranger for tanking. So, yeah. Trevor Belmont build a while back that used Monster Hunter Fighter UA and Kensai Monk. Yeah, we're definitely leaning towards Kensai Monk as some inspiration here. And then this, you don't even... I mean, opportunity attacks are made with disadvantage. There's so many other ways to get that kind of stuff that it just keeps falling short. They wanted to give this, some flexibility. I feel like with a hunter, if you had a ranger hunter in your group, you should just allow them every long rest to change their ability. So if you are hunting a lot of smaller creatures, they would then switch to Hordebreaker. If you guys are going up against literal giants, you would switch to giants. But why lock them into that choice for the entire campaign? I just feel like that's super limited. So, yeah, kind of going through here. We got Monster Slayer, who is different than Hunter, and the Monster Slayer is out there trying to actually hunt down and kill monsters. This is probably the closest thing to what we're looking for, and maybe, honestly, would remove the need to have a Belmont-style one. But let's take a look at it. Starting at 3rd level, you learn additional spells. So Protection from Good and Evil, obviously a good one. Zone of Truth for investigating claims of shapeshifting monsters and things like that. Magical Circle, big setup, but pays off. Banishment thematically makes sense. Hold Monster, also fantastic. Then they get, and you're seeing this trend here, right? Just like the Gloomstalker, they get Hunter's Sense. You get the ability to peer at a creature, magically discern how best to hurt it. As an action, choose one creature you can see within 60 feet of you. You immediately learn whether the creature has any damage immunities, resistances, or vulnerabilities, and what they are. If the creature is hidden from divination magic, you sense that it has no damage immunities, resistances, or vulnerabilities. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your wisdom modifier. A little weird that they didn't go with proficiency modifier. And you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. Slayer's Prey. At 3rd level, you can focus your ire on one foe, increasing your harm to them. As a bonus action, you can designate one foe you can see within 60 feet as target spell. First time that turn you hit him with attack, it deals 1d6 extra damage. That's pretty lackluster. 5e fights don't usually last more than 3 rounds. So you're already a ranger that's got Hunter's Mark. And then they added this new ability in Tasha's, like Hunter's Quarry or some shit. And some DMs allow you to stack that with Hunter's Mark. And oh, gotcha. And then it's like, cool, well, I also have Slayer's Prey that requires a bonus action. So it takes 3 rounds to set this character up to use everything effectively. I don't know. Supernatural Defense. Whenever a target of your Slayer's Prey forces you to make a saving throw, or whenever an ability check requires you to escape their grapple, you get to add a 1d6 to the roll. Again, that doesn't seem like it's going to scale very well as you go through your career as like a monster hunter. And then Magic User's Nemesis. This is like, yeah. So you gain the ability to thwart someone else's magic. When you see a creature casting a spell or teleporting within 60 feet of you, you can use your reaction to try and magically foil it. They must succeed on a saving throw against your spell DC, or its spell is teleported. Now, this is way better than the Mage Slayer feat, which is just hot garbage. But you can only use this once per short rest, whereas the Mage Slayer feat is reaction-based and it just keeps going forever. So this is another one that's like, this was a cool idea, I just didn't execute it very well. And then we've got Slayer's Counter. 15th level, you gain the ability to counterattack when your prey tries to sabotage you. Again, only the target of your Slayer's Prey forces you to make a saving throw. You can use your action to make one weapon attack against the quarry. You can make this attack immediately before or make the saving throw. So this implies that you're playing, I guess, a ranged character, because a lot of things that use saving throw based effects are not going to be in melee with you. They're going to be attacking from a distance. So yeah, I feel like the Monster Slayer that they have, it was like headed in the right direction, but maybe not what we need for this. So let's look at our Fiend Hunter Ranger under that lens. We also have this Kensai Monk class open. And Kensai Monk increases their damage with certain weapons as they go, which I think is pretty cool. They've got this whole thing, one with the blade. Your attacks with Kensai weapons count as magical. I think that's really important for a monster hunter, so I feel like we need something similar. So let's look at 7th level magical weapons. So we'll definitely keep that in mind. Let's see. Death Strike. When you hit with your Kensai weapon, you can spend key points to deal extra damage equal to your martial arts dice. I mean, that's pretty cool. Key points do go quick, and a lot of people like to save them for Stunning Strike, so is it... yeah, it's a little bit tough. It is a lot of extra damage, though, because your martial arts die can get pretty beefy. Let's see. Then you get to choose another weapon to add to your criteria. That's cool. 11th level, you can augment your weapon. You can grant a weapon a bonus to attack and damage rolls when you use it. The bonus equals the number of key points you spent. This ability was way cooler before Tasha's introduced the absolutely insane monk ability to spend key points to add up to a +6 bonus to an attack roll. But I understand what they're doing here, because you are basically making your weapon a +1, +2, or +3 weapon. At higher levels of play, especially if you're grandfathering in the older rules of D&D, some more powerful creatures can only be damaged by weapons of a certain magic level. So that +1, +2, +3 is kind of cool if your campaign is using that sort of setting. The bonus only lasts for 1 minute. I don't know. It's a pretty big investment of key points, I think, but it's still really good. You get to choose another weapon for Kensai, and then at 17, if you miss with an attack, you can re-roll it. Gloom Stalker has the same ability, so that's kind of cool that there's that overlap there. Alright, so the main takeaway for me from this is there's going to be weapons that they are focused on. So we're going to call them Hunter's Arsenal. And it's basically just going to be a reskin of the Kensai weapons. And we will allow additional weapons to be added to the hunter's arsenal as they go. All right. Another thing that I feel like they need is they need knowledge of monsters. They need to be able to just look at monsters and know about monsters. That is where the Monster Hunter, that was probably the best takeaway from the Monster Hunter, was the ability that's Hunter Sense, to peer at a creature and discern how best to hurt it. It does take a full action to do this ability. I don't actually mind cribbing this entire ability from here because I feel like it's pretty damn useful and it's pretty thematic for what they're doing. The other option would be to make them skill-based and allow them to roll skill checks. I think that would put them in a similar area of the Cobalt Soul. Are we not allowed to see Cobalt Soul? There we go. Why is Cobalt Soul unofficial material? Don't you guys love Critical Role? I thought D&D and Critical Role were best friends. That's kind of weird. Whatever. Alright, so they have Extract Aspects, which is a very similar ability, but you do have to hit the creature to figure out. So when you hit a creature with one of your attacks, you mark them as Analyzed. Whenever an analyzed creature misses you with an attack, you can immediately use your reaction to make an unarmed melee attack against the creature. This benefit lasts until the end of the okay. In addition, you learn one of the following attributes about the target: damage vulnerabilities, damage resistances, damage immunities, and condition immunities. A very similar ability, a lot more cumbersome to get out the gate. So I'm not sure that I like that more than I like Hunter's Sense. I feel like Hunter's Sense is better. Action economy wise, though, man, does it suck in a game of D&D where the first combat's going to last maybe 3 rounds, and you're going to spend your first round of combat spending your whole action to analyze a creature. I just feel like that's bad feels, right? At the same time, though, if we gave them an ability like this and it keyed off of a bonus action, Rangers need those bonus actions. Rangers have to drop their Hunter's Mark. They've got the Hunter's Quarry. They've got a lot of cool abilities that key off of bonus action. So it does kind of hurt them a little bit to do that. So do they give up that extra DPS setup in the first round to do that, or do they give up their entire action? So maybe they could do it as an action or a bonus action. Choose one creature you can see within 60 feet of you. You immediately learn that the creature has any damage, immunities, resistances, or vulnerabilities, and what they are. Here's the other thing about this. In 5e D&D, barely anything has vulnerabilities. So, like, in like the Giphy games that I play in and that I run, this ability would be absolutely bananas. It would be amazing to be able to find. I'd spend an action at the beginning of every combat to find out, what the tough boss monster has weakness or vulnerability to. So I feel like, yeah, this is all cool ability, but maybe we could give them something flavorful that is outside of combat, right? So we're gonna do instead of Hunter's Sense, we're gonna put Collected Knowledge, which we could change the name. It could be like Hunter's Grimorum. I don't know. That actually sounds kind of dope. But basically, Collected Knowledge is going to be you gain proficiency in X number of knowledge skills. Okay. When using these skills to recall information about monster types, you do so with expertise, period. That seems pretty good, right? It's not like mechanical, it's not getting in the way of your play style, but it's still like, oh, we're hunting this monster. Well, I've learned about these monsters as a kid. I don't have to look at the fucking monster and spend an entire action. I know about this monster because I grew up hunting these monsters. I was trained to hunt these monsters. So I like the idea more that they have grown up with this information. So what kind of monsters does a fiend hunter hunt is a good question. Do we just allow it about everything? Yeah. It's a ribbon feature. So I'm going to put, what do we got? Fiends Celestials, because you know they messing around. Fiends, Celestials, Aberrations, and Monstrosities. I feel like that's pretty fair. I mean, you don't get like Elementals and everything else like that, but I mean, that's... Oh, Undead. Derp. Okay. All right. There we go. You do so with expertise. All right, cool. So let's see. You gain proficiency in X number of knowledge skills. Why don't we just straight up do Arcana, Religion, and Religion covers Fiends and Celestials. Arcana covers Aberrations. What's Monstrosities? Is Monstrosities... I mean, I do Animal Handling, but let's see. Arcana, Religion, and Nature. I think Nature covers Monstrosities. All right. Okay. In the Arcana, Religion, Nature skills, or we could just say in 2 of the following skills, and then we'll just put History. Yeah, there we go. We'll leave it up to the player and the DM. So Arcana, History, Religion, Nature. Okay. And then when using any of these skills to recall information about Fiends, Celestials, Aberrations, Monsters, or Undead, you do so with expertise. Yeah. I like that. I think that's a better way of handling this Hunter's Sense than the Cobalt Soul or this. Alright, cool. So that's that. And then let's go back to Kensai to get some wording for... let's see. Way of Shadows. Going up. Way of Mercy. Dedicated Weapon. Yeah. No, wait. The Nastic Traditions. Shadow. Okay, hold on. Alright. So let's see. Kensai weapons. Choose 2 weapons to be your Kensai weapons, 1 melee and 1 ranged. Each of these weapons can be any simple or martial weapon that lacks the heavy and special properties. The longbow is also a valid choice. You gain proficiency in these weapons if you don't already have it. Weapons of the chosen type are Hunter's Arsenal. When you reach 6th level, 7th level. Okay. Alright, so we're going to be a little bit more liberal. So we'll do choose any 2 weapons that you are proficient in the use of. When using these weapons, you gain the following benefits. Alright, cool. So then we just need to figure out what those following benefits are. Let's see. Because these guys just use them as monk weapons, but then they can do other stuff with them, like magical weapons and things like that. Alright. At what level do clerics suddenly start adding damage to their shit? I kind of want to look at that real quick. Let's see. Game rules, classes, clerics. And let's go down to Grave, because I know they get a bonus. Potent spellcasting, wisdom modifier to damage. Okay, which one of you guys gets the... I guess it's at level 8. Alright, so what we'll do is, for magic weapons, when wielding your... wielding weapons from your hunter's arsenal. There we go. When wielding weapons from your hunter's arsenal, They are considered magical for the purposes blah 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 blah. Let's get the actual wording here. For the purpose of overcoming this bullshit. There we go. For the purpose of overcoming resistance and immunity to magical effects. Let's see. In addition, comma, and then we'll go over to cleric. And which one of you guys is dropping the extra damage at D8? I don't want the divine strike. There we go. Okay. So in addition, you gain the ability to infuse your stuff. Blah 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 blah. We'll just crib this entirely. Bloop. All right. And that seems pretty good. Let's see. Hunter's Arsenal. You may add a third weapon to your Hunter's Arsenal. Okay. Let's see. These weapons gain the following benefits based on type. Period. Okay. So what we'll do is all thrown weapons. We'll just put thrown weapons. Here we go. Return to you after being thrown, unless the attack was a natural 1, period. Yeah, that seems pretty good. Okay, so what do we do about ranged? Ranged weapons do not incur disadvantage when used in melee. Seems pretty good. Let's see. Heavy weapons. Okay. What do we want to do with heavy weapons? I feel like it should be based on type, but I don't know what else to do with it. Let's see. Choose any 2 weapons that you're proficient in the use of. When using these weapons, you gain the following benefits based on type. Thrown weapons return to you after being thrown, unless the attack was natural 1. Ranged weapons do not incur disadvantage when used in melee combat, which kind of checks out for that. Heavy weapons. Okay. Let's see. How do they describe whips? Let's see. Game rules. Nope. We want to go to equipment. Here we go. All right. Finesse and reach. Okay. Let's see. Reach weapon adds 5 feet to your reach when you attack with it. So let's say, yeah, we could just kind of go down the list here. Finesse, strength and dexterity, that's its whole thing. Heavy or small, that's its whole thing. Light, loading, ranged, reach, special, thrown, two-handed, and versatile. Okay. I know for reach, it'd be pretty cool if weapons with reach add an additional 5 feet. Man, that would be like the craziest polearm fighter of all time, though. But it would be pretty thematic for what they're doing. Okay. Alright, that seems pretty good. Choose any 2 weapons you're proficient in the use of. When using these weapons, you gain the following benefits based on type. Reach weapons, range weapons, and thrown weapons. Do we want to boost the other weapons in any way, or just kind of leave it there for now? I think we could probably leave it there for now. Alright, we're going to go over here and fix that. And then we'll go back to full screen. Okay. Hunter's Arsenal. You made a third weapon to your Hunter's Arsenal. Alright, so at 11th level, the monk that we're trying to get inspiration from, you can just choose more weapons, and you can sharpen the blade. As a bonus action, you expend up to 3 key points. Blah, 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 blah. If we're trying to get something akin to... Oh, yeah, that's true, that's true. I see that in chat now, Lex, that they let the cleric switch back and forth. Hunter's Arsenal, you made a third weapon to your thing. Okay, Fuser strikes with divine energy, blah, blah, blah. This is really... It's kind of looking a little OP, if I'm being honest. It's kind of looking a little OP. Maybe leaning too hard into trying to make this cool. Because we still have the whole ranger with spells situation to deal with. Like, I don't know if there's any ranger officially that doesn't have spells, right? I think they all have spells. So, is there a rule to play a ranger without spells? Let's see. Okay. Optional class features, additional ranger spells, favored foe instead of favored enemy, which is a whole thing. Deft explorer instead of natural explorer, which is a core class feature. We can't really change that too much. Let's see. Extra attack, land stride, spell casting. Spell casting just is a part of this class. So I guess we need to accept that or not make these guys a ranger. Okay. It would be like kind of wild if we took away spellcasting of a 5th edition ranger. Let's see, at 2nd level you get a fighting style, which is cool, because that's a whole thing. Let's see, and there's more fighting styles available through Tasha's, so that's good. Natural Explorer, that can be subbed out. Yeah, we just kind of have to accept that these dudes are going to be spellcasters. Okay. If that is the case, certainly the spells available through the Monster Hunter were probably the best spells that they had to offer, really. And there is some overlap here. Protection from Good and Evil does show up on other spell lists as well. So let's see. All right. So I could definitely see Protection for Good and Evil making its way onto the list. So punch that guy in. Yeah, thank you. That's how links work. Good stuff. As far as these other things go, I feel like Magic Circle is a good thematic thing to have. I just don't understand how often it's going to be used. Like, Magic Circle is a hard one to get off. It takes, it takes a minute to cast. So it's one of those things that you have to have it ready in advance. It's also a little price. It's 100. And I certainly don't mind that, because I like the idea that the spells that they cast are going to be a bit more ritual in nature. So, yeah, I could see Magic Circle being a thing. I'm not 100% sold on Zone of Truth. I think that Enhanceability might be better than Zone of Truth, because Enhanceability is also a 2nd level spell, but that might already be a Ranger spell. Let's see. Go over here. Enhance ability. Okay, are you listed as a ranger spell? Shit, it's not a ranger spell? Wow, okay, well that's bullshit. So we'll give them enhance ability. Alright, that solves that problem. As far as turning invisible goes, it doesn't really feel like a kind of a Belmont move. I know that, let's see. That is a 4th level spell. I guess we'll just shop around for 4th level spells and see what's good. Here we go. Let's see. All spells. And show advanced filters. And we only want 4th level spells. Give us those 4th level spells. Alright. Arcane Eye. Actually kind of dope right off the bat. You create an invisible magical eye within range that hovers about and looks for things. It's kind of a fuck you to your dungeon master because you just scout out the whole dungeon ahead of time. As far as information gathering goes, it's pretty damn good ability, but maybe not what we need here. Aura of Life. Life-preserving energy radiates from you from an aura 30 feet. That one's kind of dope. It doesn't require concentration either, and it's only a verbal component. During this time, each non-hostile creature in the aura, including you, has resistance to necrotic, and its hit points can't be reduced. I mean, that's the kind of shit that these guys are going to be fighting against. I'm kind of into this. I think Aura of Life might do it. We could certainly look at other stuff, but I mean, that seems pretty good. Then these guys also get access to Banishment, and then they get access to Hold Monster. Alright, Hold Monster, I believe, is a 5th level spell. Banishment is another 4th level spell. I don't mind these guys keeping Banishment, but I do think that Aura of Life is kind of a winner for these guys, because they are going to be going up against some pretty fucked up stuff. So, Alright, Magic Circle is 3rd level, though. So we have to choose between Banishment and Aura of Life. I'm going to say Aura of Life, probably. Because they do have Magic Circle, and Magic Circle does technically banish shit and bind shit, which kind of feels a bit more like, I don't know, Gothic Horror Monster Hunter, because they're spending 100 gold in silvered iron, or sorry, powdered silver and iron to do this, so I don't know. I kind of feel like this has a thing. Oh, thank you. Let's see. One thing Bear Totem can't protect is Psychic. Yeah, I mean, if you get a hold of, what is it, Ring of Mind Shielding, then your Bear Barbarian is just resisting everything in the whole game. So that's craziness. Bear Barbarian, I think, does meet its match, though, once the Zealot Barbarian gets the Undying thing at level whatever the hell it is. I want to say level 11, level 12, something like that. And then it just gets crazier from there. If you can get a Zealot Barbarian high in level, you're just not going to die. And then when you do die, you just come back to life. So in a way, I think it's a more fun Barbarian than the Bear Barbarian. But at lower levels, nothing better for tanking than a Bear Barbarian. All right. So we got that Aura of Life rocking right there. And then finally, we need a 5th level spell. Okay. Faithful Hound would have actually been kind of dope to give to these guys, except that there's no Belmont that I can think of that would have. That Locate Creature would have been kind of good too, but Rangers already have access to that. I think we made a good choice with Aura of Life. So let's go ahead and check out. We're going to reset all the filters on spells. And we're going to check out 5th level spells and try to make a decision for the 5th level spell they have access to. Alright. So let's see. Animate objects, nope. Arcane Hand, not gonna happen. Anti-life shell, certainly not. Conjure elemental, contact other plane, creation, dense, macabre, dawn. Dawn's kind of dope. The light of dawn shines down on a location you specify within range. And this is again for a 17th level Belmont character. Until the spell ends, 30-foot radius, 40-foot high cylinder of bright light glimmers. This light is sunlight. Honest to God, is there a better thing to put for their 17th level ability than Dawn? I'm not sure. But I think Dawn's pretty damn good. Let's see what else they've got for 5th level options. Dispel evil and good, cool, but this is a 17th level thing. I mean, we kind of want it to be pretty baller. Hollow is cool, but not as cool as summoning down the fucking sun. Holy Weapon, pretty damn nice, and normally not available to Rangers. You imbue a weapon you touch with holy power until the spell ends. It emits light in a 30-foot radius in dim light. In addition, weapon attacks do an extra 2d8 radiant damage. If the weapon is already magic, it becomes magic for duration. Less important to these guys. As a bonus action on your turn, you can dismiss the spell and cause the weapon to emit a burst of radiance. Each creature of your choice, let's see, within 30 feet, on a failed save, the creature takes 4d8 radiant, blinded for 1 minute. On a successful save, a creature takes half as much damage and isn't blinded. At the end of its turn, a blinded creature can make a Constitution saving throw, and the effect on itself with a success. All right, let's see. Dispel evil and good. As an action, you make a melee attack against a celestial, an elemental, a fiend, a fey, or an undead that you can reach. That kind of covers all that shit. On a hit, you can attempt to drive the creature back to its home plane. Ooh, you right. That is pretty good. Alright, we'll leave Dawn for the real spellcasters, and yeah, we'll just give them Dispel Good and Evil. Alright. Plus, I like this whole Witcher angle of, like, breaking enchantments on things. That's kind of dope also. I mean, you're 17th level Fiend Hunter. I mean, seems pretty good. Alright. So we've got that. So I like the spells that we picked out. It's pretty good. And let's see. Yeah. Okay. Pretty good. I don't think it requires concentration either. And it requires holy water and powdered silver and iron as a material component, which does fit thematically for the game. Overall, I think it's a good fit. Yeah, exactly. Very much like they have their bag of tricks that they have to like pull out, like different herbs and roots and totems and stuff like that. For sure. I think this is a good spell list, and I think thematically that kind of works pretty well. Now, obviously, they have these other ranger things. We can't really do anything about that. I mean, ranger spells is going to be ranger spells. That's really up to the player how much they want to lean into that or not lean into that. All right, so that seems pretty good. Let's see. I'm going to put, when you reach 15th level, the extra damage is increased to 2d8. The reason clerics get this ability to deal that extra damage... Here's the problem. With Ranger... it's definitely too powerful. Compared to like other classes and subclasses that aren't rangers, I don't think we've made anything here today that is extraordinarily strong. I think it's, I think it's whatever. I think it's a very cool class. I think it's a very interesting class. We've given them 2 free skills, which rangers are low on skills. These skills are being encouraged to be used against supernatural beings. So that's kind of cool. And then we're kind of borrowing from the Kensai hard with the idea of them having special weapons. Instead of being able to use monk maneuvers, we're basically just saying that they're better at using these weapons than they normally would be. So that's kind of an idea. Yeah, Belmont did fight death, so... He definitely had these abilities, like Aura of Life kicking. He definitely turned on that Aura of Life quite a bit in the show and the games. I don't know how else he got through all that shit. So let's see. What would be a good 11th level feature? Let's go back to our friend the Ranger and see what we got here. Terrible Magic User's Nemesis thing. Swarm Keeper, which is really fun. Let's see. The Swarm Keeper gets increased damage dice, so that's cool. Let's see. If they fail their saving throw against being moved by Gathered Swarm, you can also knock them down. It's pretty dope. When you are moved by Gathered Swarm, it gives you half cover. God damn, Swarm guys are so good. And just, I don't know, really fun and interesting to me. Let's see. Writhing Tide, you can dead support a swarm. It lifts you up as a bonus action. You get a flight speed of 10 and can hover. This lasts for 10 minutes until you're incapacitated. Number of days equals, or times per day equals proficiency bonus. So it does scale with your level a little bit, and you regain all expended uses. And even though the speed is terrible, you do get at 11th level, it's giving you half cover, which is a +2 to your AC. That's pretty good. And then you can discorporate into your swarm to avoid danger. That's pretty dope. Okay, you can use this feature a number of times. All right, now both the Kensai and the Gloomstalker, their big fancy high level one is that they can reroll missed attacks, which I'm kind of into, but I feel like Belmont's more than being accurate with their attacks, because that's really on the player who's playing the game and hitting the buttons and timing their attacks. I feel like they're sturdy AF, right? This is going to be... I'm going to have to wait until 2022, which sounds really weird to say out loud, but it's actually, what, only a few months from now? But then I'm going to start running short campaigns in this setting. So they're going to be short, narrative focused campaigns. Yeah. Alright, I think their 15th level ability should basically be like a re-rolling of failed saves. Like an Indomitable kind of thing, basically. Like a fucking fighter. So yeah. Let's go to fighter real quick. Classes, fighter, Indomitable. Now, I think house ruled that Indomitable would just be, like, legendary resistance. So it would kind of be cool just to give these dudes, like, a legendary resistance. So what if we just do that? Just give them legendary resistance. Man, I want to post this on Reddit so people can get super upset when they read it. Alright. So what is the wording on legendary resistance? I guess we'll just take it from Indomitable. Alright. You can reroll saving throw or fail. If you do so, you can't use this feature. You can use this feature twice between long rests, starting at Thursday. Okay. So let's see. We'll just say you can use this ability once. Oh, wait. We'll just say, and you can't use this ability again until you finish a long rest. There we go. Okay. If you fail a saving throw, you may instead succeed on that saving throw. Period. I mean, that feels pretty clutch. Yeah, you get one legendary resistant. I mean, you are a legendary monster hunter. I don't know. I feel like that's pretty good. It's pretty thematic for this. I don't know. And then the 11th level ability. Extra attack would be dope, but what if we pimp their weapons again? That'd be kind of cool. So we'll go up here and we'll put Enhanced Hunter's Arsenal. Yeah. Alright, so 11th level. We'll put Enhanced Hunter's Arsenal. Okay. Should we just legitimately put whips instead of, like, reach weapons? Like, we could just straight up put whips. I mean, that would be kind of cool, actually. Let's just do that. Whips. Here we go. Add an additional 5 feet of reach for a total of 15 feet. And the damage die is increased by 1 size. Period. Okay. Well, that's a little too open-ended because what are we going to do with that? So we'll just say their damage die is increased to 86. All right. Whips add an additional 5 feet of reach for a total of 15 feet, and their damage die is increased to 56. Thrown weapons return to you after being thrown, unless the attack was a natural 1. You must have a hand free to catch the returning weapon, period. Alright, and then maybe we don't need to give them a ranged weapon thing after all. What else did Belmont use? I hear you, I hear you. Thrown weapons return after you being thrown unless the natural attack was a 1. Yeah. I'm actually kind of okay with them just having 2 weapons like that. I don't know. I mean, kind of works. Let's see what we could do down here. So we'll say choose 2 weapons which you're proficient in. Nah, let's not do 2 weapons. We will say you are trained in the specialized use of certain weapons, period. All right. Yeah, so holy water is technically a thrown weapon. I don't think that would return to you. Here, we'll do weapons and items. Here we go. Okay. And we'll say consumables used in combat are not broken or wasted unless they successfully strike a target. There we go. So you're chucking these holy water bottles everywhere. Hey, what's up? The dagger, the axe, the cross, and the axe is a thrown weapon. The cross is a thrown weapon. And the holy water stopwatch. I guess we can explain that with their ranger magic. I think there's actually a ranger spell that makes you move fast. So a couple of ranger spells that make you move fast. So this is a lot more specialized, but I'm kind of liking it. You are trained in the specialized use of certain weapons and items. Thrown weapons return to you after being thrown. Unless the attack was natural 1, you must have a hand free to catch the returning weapon. Consumables used in combat are not broken or wasted. I'll say consumables used in combat as weapons. For example, oil, holy water, alchemist, fire, are not broken or wasted. I'll say broken, activated, or wasted unless they successfully strike a target. And then whips at an additional 5 feet of reach for a total of 15 feet, and their damage die is increased to d6. All right. Yeah, Zephyr Strike. There you go. Collected knowledge. I like that one. We'll leave it in there. Magical weapons. When wielding weapons from your hunter's arsenal, they are considered magical for the purpose of overcoming resistance. Okay, so that's much more limited than it was before. In addition, you gain the ability to infuse your weapon strikes with divine energy once on each of your turns. When you hit a creature with a weapon attack, you can cause the attack to deal an extra 1d8 radiant damage. Okay. We'll just throw this in there. This bonus damage can also be applied to thrown holy water, thrown consumables used as weapons, period. But I think we will take away the scaling at level 15. Maybe. Nah, you know what? Because at level 15, you get 1 point of legendary resistance, and that's it. You don't have any other thematic or special things. So, sure, we'll leave that shit in there, too. Hunter's Arsenal, you may add a 3rd weapon to your Hunter's Arsenal. Yeah, we don't need that anymore. Alright. Okay, and then enhance Hunter's Arsenal. That's what this is for. choose any 2 weapons that you are proficient in the use of. No, we're going to go and copy this part. Okay. So enhanced, blah, 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 blah. All right. So under enhanced hunter's arsenal, you may craft any thrown consumable of 50 GP or less during a long rest. So we'll say any one thrown consumable of 50 GP or less during a long rest. That's cool. Damage from whips increases to a D8. Okay, that's cool. Let's see. Whips can be used. Here we go. When wielding a whip, you have advantage on athletics checks to climb or jump. That seems pretty cool. Damage from whips increases. Should we increase the range on the whips to like 20, or is that bananas? I don't know. I feel like that might be bananas to increase the range to 20. 15 is pretty damn good for a whip. When wielding a whip, you have advantage on athletics checks to climb or jump. You may craft. Here we go. 1 thrown consumable. We'll just put from the following list. We'll say, okay, once, comma, the wording here is weird. Once per long rest, during the rest, comma, you may craft 1 thrown consumable from the following list. There we go. And it will be Alchemist Fire, Acid, or Holy Water. There we go. Cool. Okay, damage was increased to 8. Yeah. Okay. I like where this is at. I think this is extremely thematic. It's 100% just a Simon Belmont character, but I dig it. I think it's really fun. Okay, cool. We are past time. I usually only try to do an hour of Gothic Horror prep per Tuesday. I can't believe it already we burned through it, but I am happy that I'm pretty good with this. I would let somebody play this, of course, under the pretext that it's all playtesting, but I would certainly let somebody play this just to see it in action. It seems like it'd be really fun. Very thematic. Hyper specialized subclass, so you know, there's that angle. Like, you're obviously going to want to use a whip of some sort. You're going to want to be chucking your consumables out there. And I mean, multi-classing with a rogue thief is very appealing here if you get these bonuses to your consumable stuff. So, I don't know. We may have to do more with consumables used as weapons. I'm not sure. We do give them the bonus down here, though, under magical weapons. So that part's kind of cool. I don't know. We'll have to see it in play. But I'm happy enough with it right now that I would allow people to play as it in a game that I was running. And then we'd kind of figure it out from there. So, very cool. A lot of cool ideas. We mashed together Fighter, Ranger, and Monk to sort of create something completely new that nods to a lot of the source material. So, yeah. That's true. Hoplite Fighter is super specialized to be using spears. Shield Monk from Odyssey tells you to use shields, obviously. So, you know, we're at a point in the 5th edition generation where you're going to start seeing a lot more of these hyper specialized classes. In Hackmaster, I played a character that was a magic missile mage. Literally, the only spells he knew were magic missile and variants of magic missile. So, if an edition is around long enough, they will start to run out of ideas, and the subclasses will all start to become hyper specialized to stand out a little bit more. For more on that, you can go check out Kobold Press's current Kickstarter, Tomb of Heroes, where they're just literally coming up with like anything you could imagine as playable races and playable subclasses. It's bananas. So I don't feel like our Simon Belmont is really that much of a crime against the game. All right, thank you everybody for hanging out. Tomorrow night we're going to be prepping Skull and Shackles. We're going to be playing some Rime of the Frost Maiden. Thursday, more Skull and Shackles, playing Skull and Shackles. They're going to have a huge fight against a bunch of Zelda-inspired bosses and close out the Cloud Kingdom arc, so that should be pretty exciting. Friday, we're going to be working on Extra Life for the big 25-hour marathon coming up in November. And Saturday, we're going to be back playing some more Wildermyth. We've been doing that every 2 weeks, so a bunch of us from the server are going to be hanging out and doing that. So, pretty fun. So maybe I'll see you at one of those things. If not, I will see you next time.